Circuit.com and the director of the Oregon Short Film Festival. We have an event coming up on October the 14th at the Clinton Street Theater on a Friday. We're excited to be back at Clinton Street, and we're screening films of all genres, everything from animated to experimental to comedy to horror, you name it. You are going to get quite the potluck if you show up on that date. I hope we see you there. We are joined by director Craig Trumbo, who has two films, or I should say two music videos, let's just say two entries into our festival, both of which have been nominated for awards. One is the Best Experimental Film Award finalist, and the other is a Best Music Video Award finalist. Hey, Craig, how are you?
Great. How you doing there, Michael?
Oh, man, it's good to see you. I'm excited about the event coming up.
Oh, I am too.
Excited to screen your work. Just I don't know how many times I can say the word excited, but the Oregon Short Film Festival's quite the variety, and our most popular festival. So sorry to talk over you, but thanks for coming.
Great to be here. Absolutely. I'm totally jazzed.
Well, let's give the viewers an idea of what is going to be screening on that Friday, and we can start off with Thoughts and Prayers, nominated for the Best Experimental Film. Tell us about that one. What's the synopsis?
Well, it's it's sort of ripped from the headline sort of thing. It's a story of the worst school shootings from Columbine to Uvalde, and it's the same play each time, right? A troubled young man finds a gun in his hands and does the unthinkable. The world's horrified. There's some typically ineffective political response, if any. Some gun nut makes some stupid comments. The cops get praise sometimes, anyway. Aid sent, along with thoughts and prayers, and then it just repeats over again. And that was the that was the emotional impression I had right after Uvalde, and so I was just motivated to do something about that. There was no way not to. I at the time felt.
Sure, let's get into that a little bit, because I was going to ask you about your motivation, but it's pretty clear what your motivation was for making the film. What kind of response are you getting?
Oh, I've streamed it on a YouTube channel and received some feedback there. I have some 150 subscribers, so not a massive venue for me. I'm fairly new at that, but it's been the folks I've showed it to have felt that it's quite impactful, and the message I was trying to send did make it through. The repetitive nature of the narrative, and then the conclusion, where some fingers get pointed, blame is laid, and things like that, seem to tie together pretty well.
Did you learn anything from this production, edit, putting this together?
Yeah, it was actually kind of tricky and emotionally tricky, I should say. I knew about all the shootings. I mean, just couldn't name them all or all the details. So the first thing I did on this was just background research, put together fact sheets on each of the incidents, and through that process, really, really truly absorbed the horror of this phenomenon, and then gathering the imagery, especially processing the victims' pictures, which were from police releases, to play them out during each one of the narratives. That was tough, but motivation was just outrage, and that came right away after that news. So it was 100% front burner until it was done. And not to glom onto fame, but I couldn't help flashing back to the story of how Neil Young wrote Ohio, right after the Kent State shootings. It was just like, sit down. 3 days later, it's out. And of course, having a great band and label and everything helps. But that kind of visceral response was really what I felt there for about 3 weeks.
Let's switch gears a minute and talk about Two Tickets to Planet B.
Sure. Yeah.
Interesting title. What's this one about?
Well, you might say this is a travel log of sort. The itinerary or plot goes from booking a trip, excited anticipation to departure, arrival, and then nightmarish disappointment, and maybe like a cruise during the pandemic. But the theme is actually just a riff on this environmental slogan, and the intent is to express that sentiment in a somewhat novel way.
Mhm. All right. And what'd you learn from this one?
What I learned from this one was actually I'm fairly new to this, so technical things have been uh, very forefront in terms of my learning experience. So I have a fairly strong background in photography and picture editing, graphic design, and more recently music production. So the ideas arrive usually in fairly good fashion, but turning them into something, that's the trick. I've so much to learn in doing this between the software, how to storyboard and plan, and knowing what you can probably pull off and what you can't. So, uh, in terms of environmental issues, I've been aware of these things for a long time, so there wasn't much to learn in terms of substance, but tools and techniques. Pretty heavy duty for this.
All right. What do you got planned for the future?
Well, right now, I'm just releasing another short music video. It's an environmental piece on climate change. It's
Mm.
titled "It's Too Hot to Sleep in Seattle." I know Portland's been having it too. I got Portland in another one later, and I'm about about midway through remastering the audio for a longer music video, and I'm taking a chance on this one because it's actually 10 music videos streamed together thematically, and they're all thematically linked around some of the more disturbing and outlandish happenings that occurred during the height of the pandemic lockdown. And that's
Mm.
called An American Screed. And that's where Portland comes. Portland's got a chapter in there. It's called the Battle of Portlandia. It's set in 2045. I'll just leave it at that. Next up, I'm sketching what will be something of a short experimental comedy documentary, somewhere in that zone. And I've just ordered some camera gear, and this will be the first piece that I actually shoot my own live video on. So again, going to be a whole ton of stuff to learn there. Uh, but that's very exciting.
All right. Good stuff. This has been awesome. It's cool to
Thank you.
hear the different ideas coming out of your head, so
Mhm.
out of the box, and the judges really appreciate the way that you view the world, as far as just you're focused on things that maybe we would have glanced over, and maybe we would have
Hmm.
glossed over, and thoughts and prayers is very powerful, and I think that keep on doing what you're doing, and I
Oh,
think that
I will.
that
Full time for me now.
all right, good
Yeah.
stuff. Well, that's
Thank you, Michael.
exciting.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
Well, I'd like to thank you and Remy, right, for putting this thing together, and the judges, of course. I mean, their experience and certainly their time is you know invaluable. These things can't happen without folks that do that. And
Yeah.
I'm new to this actually, and I
Mm.
gotta just I'm not receiving any support, but it's a shout out to Film Freeway. It's a great site, and I learned a whole lot about this business by going through their website and discovering this incredible world of film festivals. And
Yeah.
oh, by the way, your book was good. Uh,
Oh, thank you.
yeah, really tied some things together for me. I went back and redid my posters, uh, which I just sort of thought, well, yeah, movie posters are great. I mean, I
Mhm.
had the Young Frankenstein poster for years, one of the greats. So I appreciate that kind of guidance. It was straightforward and very helpful. Thank you.
Good. Thank you for the huge compliment. I'm working on
Mm.
another one. I got one
Excellent,
cooking.
excellent.
But I figure with the film festival submitters handbook, really, laying out some of the things that I see just
Hmm.
every day, just the
Sure.
deficiencies in a lot of submissions. And I'm glad it helped somebody, and glad it helped yourself.
Oh,
And it's
definitely,
good to get
definitely. Mhm.
good to get the feedback. So
Yeah.
thank you, Craig. I appreciate your time
Thank you,
today.
Michael. Bye
I'll see you
bye.
soon.